When words are spoken and fly through the air, they flutter and die without a care. But when on paper they linger on, to be read again and again and never gone. At conversation I'm not too clever, and speaking of feelings I would never. So how can I let my inside out? This I would do without a doubt. Then one day, while at home, Madison said, "Papa, I need a poem. It's for homework I have to do," and right then is when I knew I would write one for each of you. They'll be brilliant, they'll be smart, but how should I start? I'll start with pencil and pad and tell you what's inside Dad. This I did as best I could. I was clever, I was good. But then there was this odd little thing. These poems, they had this familiar ring. What could it be, this thing bugging me? And then I knew, it was clear, these aren't the words I wanted to hear. I was putting in Kipling and coming out Seuss. I tried to fix it, but what's the use? Well, I'm not that brilliant and not so smart, but what I said was straight from my heart. And if you read them, I'll be so glad you'll be thinking of your old dad. Written by me, and that's the truth, but kinda sounds like Dr. Seuss.
Millie and Willie, Daisy and Me. The Lone Ranger and the Cisco Kid. Listen to the radio is what we did. When I was young, back in 52, if you was a villain, we was coming after you. With my 2 dogs and my trusty gun, we get those bad guys just for fun. In the pasture behind our house, we got word of this crazy louse. He was jumping on cows and holding them down. They thought they was gonna be run out of town. Out the back door and up the hill, under the fence with Millie and Will. With my 2 dogs, Daisy and me, crawling along, seeing what we could see. Then there he was, watching this cow, and we were gonna stop him right now. I'll shoot him in the butt, right under the tail, then me and my dogs will put him in jail. Liver out, liver in. Okay, Daisy, I said with a grin. Looking down the sights, I let her go, but where it hit was a little low. He bucked to the left, then to the right, and as he turned, I was right in his sight. He looked at me with blood in his eye. Come on, dogs, or we're all gonna die. We crossed the field in a trail of dust, with this big bull a-comin' after us. I heard those hooves coming up the rear, and that's when I put in my passing gear. I ran so fast that I lost a shoe. Can't stop now, this I knew. But I hit the ground, and there I lie. Oh no, is this the day that I die? Then out of nowhere, Millie from the left and Willie from the right, and them dogs of mine come to fight. They turned that bull and saved my hide, and yes, that could have been the day that I died. Well, the dogs are gone and only a memory, but we'll be best friends through eternity. And I miss the times when life was free, with Millie and Willie, Daisy and me.
On a hot summer day, I was hanging out at my parents' home, and I had just returned from 3 years in the Marines. In my mind, I was pretty cool and had much more confidence than was justified. 2 of my sisters and I were sitting at the kitchen table talking and laughing when we noticed 3 neighbor girls wandering up the street eyeing our house as if they were searching for a dog. One of my sisters opened the sliding glass door and waved them in. "What are you doing out on such a hot day?" After a long pause and quick eye contact with each other, the reply was, "Just going for a walk." All 3 looked overheated with hair and blouses damp with perspiration. "Sit down and cool off." As the 6 of us sat around the kitchen table talking, I noticed the older one kept eyeing me, so I thought I would give her a bad time and made some comment about her bony structure. She laughed but didn't smile, a very hard thing to do. In the meantime, one of my sisters offered a treat of ice cream. We all thought this was a great idea. The choice was between chocolate and vanilla. Everyone picked chocolate, and we emptied the whole carton into 6 servings. All of us were enjoying our treat when I looked across the table at the skinny neighbor girl eating her ice cream, as if it was the last time she would have anything this wonderful. I smiled and said, "Maybe the ice cream will put some meat on your bones." She came back with that same laugh without a smile, and then took her spoon and scooped out an oversized portion of ice cream and held the scoop end of the spoon with her index finger as if she were going to flip the ice cream at me. Knowing that this was only an idle threat, I laughed and said you wouldn't dare. Well, she would. The ice cream flew across the table right on target, hitting my nose and spreading across the rest of my face, then down my chin and dripping onto my shirt and onto my lap, staining all my clothing except for my socks. To you, this may seem like an insignificant, humorous story. Not so. This was a major turning point in my life, and I would take this as a challenge. Marry this neighbor girl, have 3 wonderful children, and live happily ever after. Now, almost 50 years later, I can report that I have been humbled and am much mellower than I ever thought I would be. Oh yes, there is one thing I was right about. Ice cream did put meat on her bones. Thank God for chocolate ice cream.
My boy Jack, a hell of a man. Born to us late in May on this wonderful spring day. His mother looked at me as if to say, "What now, I pray?" So I asked for a book on what to do, but of this book no one knew. So we raised our son like a couple of nerds, instructed by this book with no words. We did our best and did what we could. The way it turned out was very good. A better man you'll never see, and that is why I'm proud of me. But let's give credit where credit's due. I said it was me, but Gene, it really was you. Look at him now. He's all that's good because we did what we did and did what we could. He turned out the way he should. So when you're raising your son, just do what you do and do what you can, and he'll turn out the way you plan. Like my boy Jack, a hell of a man.
The One in the Middle by Papa Campbell. I love my children, which we have 3, but the one in the middle seems more like me. Of her I am especially fond. I have this special bond. But being like me is not always good. Learning would be hard, I knew it would. So when things got hard, she worked harder. When things got harder, she worked smarter. Got through school and did just fine, this tough little girl of mine. Now she's grown with a great life, and we're so proud, me and my wife. Watching her grow through the years, so much joy, so few tears. She's the one that's never too little, my girl Kathy, the one in the middle. Hello. I am now going to read a poem I wrote in response to your poem, Papa. It is called The One in the Middle of Rebuttal. I am the middle, that factually is true, and I did inherit a good portion of you. You had said being like you may not always be good. I disagree wholeheartedly, as historically I would. Your thesis above I do not agree, although learning was hard, to a degree. But you see, I'm so very grateful for your DNA. Without it, I would have withered away. It was because of those traits that disallowed failure, preventing a life in an old rundown trailer. Yes, those traits may have caused us some grief and regret, but they forced us to climb every obstacle we met. I do struggle with words to describe my admiration. I don't think you realize that you are my guide and my motivation. So in conclusion, and simply put, not always good is not always bad. And I'm so very, very proud that you are my dad.
Of all the souls I've known through life who've overcome tragedy, trouble, and strife, the best is my daughter, now mother and wife, who tipped herself over and back on her feet, a story I know but shan't repeat. This is the girl that had no answers until she picked herself up and took on cancer. Of the lives she saved, I haven't a clue, but someday it could be me or even you. And there's no one, and I mean no one who, I admire more for what they do. A poem's too short to tell this story that goes from tragedy, trouble to glory. My little girl will always be so very close to me. I've said my words, what else can I say except I love you, Sarah J.
Just to love. To my children's children, I have something to say.
Something to use for another day. When Mom and Dad get too tough, life gets hard and you've had enough.
Just remember Madison, Mabel, Emily, and Bob, that it's their job. They want you to turn out good and not too bad. It's the hardest job they've ever had.
And the most important thing they do is to make you into you.
But it's a little different with Granny and me. There is no bad, only good we see.
We're so lucky you understand our children's children are just so grand. Sent to us from up above for Granny and me just to love.
My grandchildren's grandmother. When your granny was young, she had long dark hair. Her skin was rich cream, clear and fair. She was full of life and quick of a wit. She was my girl, Grandpa's lucky as you can get. She raised my children, fed my dog, and trained me, and her vision in life in time I could see. She's loving and caring, as you know, and if you're in trouble, she's ready to go. Anytime, anywhere, she'll be there. That's your granny with unconditional care. You're her love, you're her life, you're her pride. She's your teacher, she's your friend, she's your guide. So when you have a bump or stumble in your life, call your granny. She'll make it okay.
Snow's coming in and the wind will blow. The streets will freeze with traffic slow. The colors have changed to black and white. Oh, what a terrible sight. And there's shoveling snow with the frozen noses. And if you're too long, it's frozen toes. And the days are short and the nights are long. The weather's cold and I should be gone. To warmer climate is where we should be, on the ocean beach, under a tall palm tree. And with the snowbirds, we could fly away. But my wife and me are here to stay. And to tell you the truth, we wouldn't have it any other way. Because everyone's coming to Granny's house on Christmas Day. There will be toys and big bright tree, with lots of food for you and me. There's fun and games, with jokes and laughter too, with a hug for me and one for you. And this is what we Campbells do. We could go south and fly away, but it's a lot warmer at Granny's house.
The last time I saw Doris Day, I had just come from a memorial service for my favorite aunt. She had died just before Christmas, and I wanted to tell someone how I felt. But I was alone in the house with no one to speak, so I gathered my thoughts and put my feelings on paper. The last time I saw Aunt Doris was in my mom's living room. She had terminal cancer, and Mom suffered from Alzheimer's, both in their 80s. And they knew this would more than likely be the last time they saw each other on this earth. As the two of them sat on the couch, side by side, they reached for each other's weak and delicate hand and held on for the entire visit. In my mind, I thought I heard them say, "You're my sister, you're my friend. Life's been long, and soon will end. So let me put my hand in yours, and yours in mine, and when we pass, we'll be fine. We've lived our lives as best we could, and the ones we raise are oh so good. Passed to us from Mom above, we showed our children how to live and how to love." After Doris passed, I was sitting in the memorial, and these words kept going through my mind as if God was speaking directly to Aunt Doris. It said, "Let me put my hand in yours, and yours in mine, and as you pass, you'll be fine. I will hold your hand as we begin, for you've chosen to live again."
Mom, sometimes we take things for granted, but it's much better to say, "I did" instead of "I should have." There's times when we just live life through life and never take the moment to tell the ones we love just how special they are. Well, Mom, you're special. So special that you are the creator of me, my children, and my children's children. I can see you in each and every one of them. They are kind, caring, and loving, just like you. And because of you, we are so lucky to have you living with us where we can reach out and touch you every day. We love you, Mom, more than I could say. Love, Bob and family.
The love of my life, my little old white-haired wife. There's times when I've needed instruction, so my wonderful wife has taken on this function. she's shown me how it really is, on what to do and how to live. But she may have gone a little too far when it comes to my car. Every time we go to the car and start to get in, it's automatically time to pee again. So, I'll wait on my spouse while she slowly goes back in the house. There's always this long and painful delay before we can drive out the driveway. Then it's adjusting the thermostat and the radio. And where the hell did your floor mats go? 60 years behind the wheel and still alive, you would think she would concede, I can drive. But oh no, no, no. You're going too slow, you're going too fast. That was a damn cop you just passed. That light just went from yellow to red. Oh, I guess I should have stayed in bed. And it makes me so proud when she reads every road sign out loud. She thinks it's so neat to drive my car from the passenger seat, but she saved my tail a time or two, so when she tells me things I already knew, I'll just sit here dumb and mute because the way she does it is kind of cute. When we seem to get there and back again, as I drive along with my silly grin, thinking how neat to have her there in the passenger seat. Yes, she's with me every place I go, body or spirit. And you know, she's the love of my life, my little old white-haired wife.
If I were God, what would I say? I'm not sure there is a God, but if there were, could he or would he grant your prayers and wishes? This has always puzzled me, and I don't know of any credible way of securing any logical conclusion. But I can respond to this telling question. If I were God, what would I say?
Prayer. If you will lift my burdens, I would change my ways and not sin. If I were God, I would say, why do you think a bribe is needed? Your burden is only as heavy as I allow it, and I know your limits. Having this burden will make you stronger and wiser.
Prayer. I have a terminal condition, please cure me. If I were God, I would say, nothing is terminal, only an end and a beginning. Do not fear change.
Prayer. I want you to let me into heaven, even though I have sinned. If I were God, I would say, talk to my son. He may let you in the back door.
Prayer. Please stop wars and pestilence and poverty and all other forms of human destruction. If I were God, I would say, some routes are shorter than others, the end is the same, and the beginning is the same beginning. Some lessons are more difficult than others.
Prayer. I have been done wrong. Let me have revenge. If I were God, I would say, you are on earth to learn. I am here to teach. Just pay attention.
Wish. I wish to be wealthy. If I were God, I would say, do you want to be wealthy or just more fortunate than your fellow travelers? You may already be wealthy.
Prayer. Please give me an easier life. If I were God, I would say, good times are only good times. Hard times are learning times. I will tell you when the class is over.
Wish. I wish to leave a legacy and be remembered. If I were God, I would say, from earth to earth, I will remember you.
Prayer. My child has a disability. Please help me. If I were God, I would say, your burden is great, but you will receive more than you could ever give. God may only be in our imagination, or is he in us and grants or denies our prayers and wishes through us? I don't know, but I was never meant to know. I am only here to learn.
As we cross the sea of life in our self-contained capsules, we experience only what we see, smell, hear, feel, and taste, and our individual senses are different from any other. This is what gives us the sensation of being alone among millions of other beings. In rough seas, most of us reach to faith, and faith is comforting and will calm the soul, but in its own definition, it is not tangible. The only physical thing that compares with faith is family. The only other beings on earth that may have some of the same feelings and sensations that you do, and stand a better chance of understanding what's inside your capsule. When families are functioning correctly, they gather together as a group and weather any storms that may arise. This is by far the most preferred way of crossing any troubled waters. If we agree, then you must realize how important the preservation of this lifeboat is. The more stable the boat, the better the chance for a safe crossing. It's not only your life, but the lives of your loved ones, and they may need the support someday. So our family must maintain, repair, and preserve this unit of human interaction to ensure that none are lost at sea. As life goes on, there will be additions and subtractions from this family, but the mission is the same, and that's for all to have a wonderful life experience. God bless you all. Note: my number one goal in life has always been for my children to turn out better than myself. You have all exceeded my greatest expectation. Now it's your responsibility to improve the species.
I read it too. I want to read it.
That's what heaven's for.
Huh?
Troubles will come and go. Life's just that way.
Go, bear, go.
You could have gone, but would stay.
I don't want to read it.
Raised our children, and they raised more. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Promises were made and went unpaid. You deserved so much more. But then, that's what heaven's for.
Look at that's our house for.
Our time together is who we are. Older, wiser, with dreams in a jar. But someday, some way, if not too far, we'll dream these dreams we once would explore. Or maybe, just maybe, that's what heaven's for.
That was a first for.
And time will all be gone, and time will be no more.
Mama.
In time I'll see you again, I know not when.
That's what happened for.
Love you, Papa.
Happy birthday, Papa.
I love you, Dad. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Papa. We love you.
I love you too, Dad. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Bob.
Happy birthday, I love you, Papa. Mwah!
Happy birthday. We love you, Papa.
Happy birthday, Papa. I love you.
Happy birthday. Love you, Papa.
Happy birthday, Papa. I love you. Happy birthday, Papa. I love you.
Happy birthday,